Hey, folks, how's it going? I'm Alex. I'm the devil's advocate. I talk about movies, music, TV, video games, whatever I feel like talking about on this channel. And today is a very special day because today I am doing a movie review. I'm actually doing a double movie review, and I'm doing it live, folks. So if you want to catch me live for some of these random movie reviews and events, check out this Space TV over on YouTube. Okay, it's on the top of the screen. It's in the link in the description of this video. This space is a working class collective and lots of different creators talking about lots of different things. I talk about the things I talk about on this channel: movies, TV, video games, and music. And today I'm talking about two movies: Mandalorian and Grogu, and I Love Boosters. Two very different movies, if I do say so myself, but a similar kind of theme, at least to me. And I kind of wanted to explore this idea. Which one do I want to talk about first here? I would say maybe let's talk about Boosters first. So, I Love Boosters is a movie. Indeed, it is. Let me get a little graphic on the screen here. I'm a little graphic on the screen here. Yeah. All right. Boom, boom. There we go. That's the poster. So, I Love Boosters is the new movie from Boots Riley. Say what up, chat, again for this video so that people know it's live. Hey, what's going on? See that? Got a real life chat, folks. It's happening for real. So yes, I Love Boosters is a new movie from Boots Riley. The first movie I think he made was Sorry to Bother You, which I enjoyed. I enjoyed that movie. It is a movie that asks a lot from the audience. Meaning, if you do not go with where that movie goes, you will not like it. It will be too much. You will hate it. Hate it. And I can tell you that this is proven correct from his new movie, I Love Boosters, because I'm with my wife and she hated it. Hated it. He does a lot of like hyper realistic stuff, mixed media, and if you don't go with that, then it's gonna really piss you off. What is the premise of this movie? The premise of the movie, it's in the trailers. If you haven't seen the trailers, I'll tell you right now. Keke Palmer, shown right here, and her like crew of friends are boosters, meaning they go to high-end fashion stores and they steal stuff and they sell it on the street, meaning like out of their houses or at clubs and stuff, and find customers. I mean, we get a first look at this. There's going to be a little bit of spoilers in here, but we get a first look at this when she goes to a club and she starts dancing with a guy, and she asks what size shoe he is, and he goes, "Oh, very forward, aren't you?" And she's like, "Well, I'm kind of trying to find out." So he says size 12, and they go back to her apartment, and then she has all these clothes in her apartment, and she's like trying to sell him shoes. And he's like, "Oh, this actually isn't your apartment, is it? This is a storehouse for all the stuff you've stolen. You actually don't want to like have sex with me. You weren't asking my shoe size to try and get an idea of my wang size. You were literally asking my shoe size." And she's like, "Yeah, I want to know your shoe size. These shoes are luxury. You're not going to get them cheaper anywhere else. I know a dude like you wants to look his best, wants to go slang wang out there at the club and stuff. And so here's these shoes." And And we get an idea of how good a saleswoman she is, because though he is disappointed that he's not getting any good loving, he still is like, that's a pretty good deal on those shoes. I will take those shoes. Size 10, actually, please. And so, one, revealing he was not actually that big that he was talking about. And two, he really does want a good deal on those shoes. So that's how it starts. And I think, I asked my wife, oh, when did you check out of this movie? She said about 10, 15 minutes in. And I was trying to remember what happened because a lot happens in this movie. And what happens 10, 15 minutes in? One of the other characters. Matter of fact, let's talk about who's in this movie. Let me bring it up on IMDb, folks. One of the other characters, Taylor Page's character, Mariah. She goes, I have a trick. So their way of boosting from stores is they go in there, and one of their crew is this white woman. And the white woman makes a scene, and all the store manager people go over there to make sure she's okay. She's crying, she's screaming, whatever. And then Kiki and her other friends, her other people of color, who are always watched in stores, can steal stuff and walk out, right? While the white woman is distracting. I've actually known this dynamic to be true in real life through people I've known in the past. Taylor Page, one day they go to boost and the white woman can't make it. She has other engagements. So Taylor Page says, hey, I have a neat trick I can do, but I have to hold my breath. And she holds her breath and she goes down. She comes back up, and it's Robin Thede, who's right here. So she can lighten her skin by holding her breath. And she's like, well, it's not white woman, but it's close enough. And I think that's the moment where my wife is like, I'm out. Just because of the hyper reality of it all. The villain in this movie is Demi Moore, much like she is a villain in real life for advocating for AI. She is an actress. AI is coming for your job, you dumb cunt. What the fuck is wrong with you? So, she is a villain. She's a rich white woman in the movie, just like she is in real life, who doesn't care about other people, just like in real life. And she designs all these clothes. She is like one of the preeminent fashion designers. And there's reels about her on the news talking about her, how, she's so smart and innovative and this and that. She's a genius. She graduated from Harvard at like 15 or whatever. Rich, privileged white people stuff, right? And how the way she talks is always very philosophical, I'm not a fashion designer. I am an artist, and the world is my landscape. And I'm not using fabric. I'm using ideas. I'm using movements to illustrate. Bullshit. It's always bullshit. And so you have this setup of and Keke Palmer's character wants to be a fashion designer. She is a fashion designer, but she just doesn't have the money and resources like Demi Moore does. Matter of fact, this entire movie really feels like a Boots Riley remake of this movie. One of them days. This was a great movie that came out, I don't know, a year or two ago. And let me see here. Yeah. One of them days featuring Keke Palmer and SZA. This was very much like a Friday movie. They're trying to make rent, and they're trying to make rent. Keke Palmer has big dreams of moving out and stuff. SZA is kind of just like, well, I'm along for the ride, and I can make rent, and it's fine, and I'm always got your back, sis. But Kiki's kind of more self-absorbed. The story is almost the same. If I didn't know any better, I'd say Boots Riley watched that movie and was like, ooh, cool premise. I got some ideas. Let me make my own version of that. Because even the best friend dynamic is like a similar dynamic where Keke Palmer has a best friend in this movie who's always got her back. Kiki's always kind of dismissing her ideas. It's like, yeah, she's my like silly, dumb best friend. And the best friend is at one point in the movie checks her on that. It's like, hey, I'm always sticking up for you. You never fucking stick up for me. You never give a shit what I have to say. It's follow your lead. You're the one with the ideas. You're doing this. No, fuck you. I got my own shit. I got my own life. In this movie, it manifests in one of them days. It manifests in SZA being like artistic and having these kind of like, ideas. Hey, we can like sell stuff on the street and we can make our art and we can sell it and we can make that rent money that way. And kind of have a pop up and use the one white lady who just moved into their apartment complex as like, hey, invite your friends, your white friends with money, and they'll come and they'll think it's like authentic art from a black community, and then they'll spend the money and we can overcharge them and we can make our rent. And that's what happens. Spoilers for that movie, but it's a slapstick comedy. You should watch it anyway. It's fantastic. In I Love Boosters, at a certain point, Kiki and the girl gang find out that there's another booster. And this booster is an Asian woman. Where is she on the poster? Right here. Very small on the poster, considering how big of a role she plays in this film. Called Jinju. Jinhu. And Jinhu is from China. She is from one of the sweatshops that make the clothes. Yet again, this is where Boots Riley will like push the audience and go, hey, come with me on this. Come with me on this. This movie, the best way to describe it is one of them days mixed with everything, everywhere, all at once. Truly, it is these two movies mashed together. And again, I like Boots Riley. But it's these two movies mashed together. As well as Boots Riley's first movie, Sorry to Bother You, which is very much about race relations and kind of changing your voice, changing the way you act and move, how much you accept of like white supremacy and whatnot into your life so that you can make it and get a little piece of capitalism for yourself. I Love Boosters is about that as well, which is to say, once John Hu joins the crew, so she's boosted on her own. She's from the sweatshop in China. How did she get to the United States and Los Angeles? Well, the Chinese government made a teleporter so that they could eliminate their shipping costs, right? It's fantastical. It's unrealistic, but it's not supposed to be. Just like that earlier scene where one of the characters holds their breath to lighten their own skin. And, it's cartoony, it's goofy, it's making a point, right? Amazon is using drones, CVS and all the pharmacies, all the corner stores are using self-checkouts, so we don't have to hire clerks anymore. We don't have to hire. All the staff has to do is walk around the store, make sure no one's stealing, unlock, shampoo and whatever from the shelves, and that's it. And lock up and close up the store every day and open up the store every day. That's it, right? They want to lower their costs of doing business. So in the movie, instead of like Amazon drones delivering or Uber's fantasy of having driverless cars, instead of hiring people to be Uber drivers, like that was the whole point of Uber and Lyft, was they thought they were going to have automatic cars. They thought that they weren't going to have to pay cab drivers that much. And one, we're not even a cab company. We're an app company. So we don't have to follow any of the rules of a cab company. The people who use our product, our app, to be drivers are just using our app to make money on their own. We have no involvement, even though this wouldn't be a thing if it didn't exist. Same thing. So in the movie, they have a teleporter, and she teleports. There's actually multiple teleporters. Her brother has one. She jumps to the United States because her family is getting sick. One of her aunt died from the toxic chemicals in the factory. All the workers got together to demand more money. The boss asked Demi Moore's character. Demi Moore's character said, "Go fuck yourself. No, put your foot down on these workers more." And so they started talk of unionizing. The mother then got sick. She had cancer because of working in the factory, and that was the last straw for the kids. John Hu and her brother stole the teleporters, and she jumped through to the United States so that she can start like stealing the clothes and destroying the clothes. Now she links up with Kiki. Kiki's like, "Hey, what's going on? We weren't even at that store across town when we were boosting this stuff." So they find out on a security footage, holy shit, that's not one of us. And what is that device she has? And then they go find her and they meet up with her and they figure out this whole story. Like, okay, so you want to get justice? Okay, let's team up and we'll steal her stuff and then we'll sell it ourselves so we can make money here, right? Yes, it went wild very fast, Rich. That's what I'm. That's Bruce Riley, okay. Bruce Riley, from what I understand, was also like a rapper in the early 2000s, and then started making like music videos and movies and stuff. Sorry to Bother You being his first movie. I will also say, in the midst of all this stuff, so that's again, the main plot started as Kiki Palmer wants to be a fashion designer. She's going up against the system. She's boosting stuff and selling it on her own. At one point, she like sneaks into Demi Moore's apartment, has a face-to-face with her. She doesn't know who she is. But Demi Moore is also making these online videos being like, the Velvet Gang, screw the Velvet Gang, low-class ghetto bitches who are stealing my stuff and selling it. Really, her issue is that the stuff that should cost $1,000, $4,000 for a purse or a shirt or whatever the fuck is being sold for half price or less on the streets, and it's diminishing her product. This is the same. This is real life. This is why like Louis Vuitton, Tommy Hilfiger, all these places hate Canal Street here in New York that sell bootleg versions of their stuff because it diminishes the value. If you see black people walking around with this thing, you don't want it, right? It's not high class anymore. The rich motherfuckers at the Epstein Island aren't going to buy Louis Vuitton bags if they see black people walking around with it because that's low class. That's subhuman. That's what it is. It's fucking racism at the heart of fucking everything. So they continue. They've got a new team member now and they're going. And then one of the people, we also see a little microcosm at one of the stores. Now, the framing of this is very funny. You see, what's this guy? Will Poulter. This dude here, the reason he has green hair is because each store only sells clothes in one color, which again just goes to show like the up their own ass artistic nature of these like wannabe creatives, where they're like, no, you can only have one color in each store. Then we'll rotate the store colors, we'll repaint the whole store, change the inventory. You're changing your hair. You also have to buy your own uniforms, and the uniforms cost lots and lots of money. You can't use last season's stuff because that's last season. That's outdated. No. And we have to have loud ass, blaring ass fucking music the whole time. So you get 2 employees from the store, one of which is this girl here who is, what is her name? It was a white girl. It is a white girl, but she had a Hispanic sounding name from when I looked it up earlier. Viggo Mortensen is in this movie. Oh, he was a narrator? Okay. Oh, Isa Gonzalez. Isa Gonzalez. So, Isa Gonzalez here, she's like, hey, we got to unionize. Like, that's her whole thing. She wants to unionize the store. The other people don't really care in the shop. But when she links up, when she realizes, like, Keke Palmer and them infiltrate the store by getting jobs there, and then they're like, okay, we're going to infiltrate the store, and then we're going to steal everything. And they're particularly looking for, Keke Palmer had overheard Demi Moore talking about they're going to make $100,000 suits. Each suit is worth $100,000, right? So that's what they're really looking for. And then they're working there for like a few days, and they're like, I don't know where these suits are. They're not showing up. Maybe let's just get the fuck out of here. And Violetta shows up and is like, okay, so this teleporter is not just a teleporter. Actually, what it's doing is advancing the story of whatever you point it at, or it devolves. There's like 2 other buttons on there, right? So again, we're taking another. So we already took multiple leaps in fantasy here, and we also are taking another huge leap with like, oh no. If you click this button and you point it at someone and you like deconstruct them, for example, they point it at somebody and they go and they deconstruct them, and then that person turns into their own parents having sex to create them, and then you put it on reconstruct and it puts them back. And there's different settings of like shallow or deepness or whatever. So it could just be the clothes, it could be the entire person. Again, very weird. You point it at, or you can advance it, right? If you have a patterned shirt and then they point the advance button, I forget what it's called, advance button, and the pattern like explodes off of you and it just like fills the entire room. It's the extrapolation of that pattern. It's almost like AI a little bit, actually. I don't know if you remember this, but like 10 years ago, they had a Google AI tool that would, if you could kind of crank it up, right? And it would like change how much AI, Deep Dream or something like that. And it turned out like everything that it would create looked like dog faces. But anyways, that's basically what it's doing. So now you have this new dynamic. So their idea now is, okay, it's not enough that we're going to steal the clothes and sell them. We got to destroy them because we want to destroy her. Every time they do something, Demi Moore reacts and puts out another video saying these low-class bitches and fuck them and fuck this. She's doing a tour of her house. She had met Keke Palmer earlier. She clocks now, oh, that's the person that's part of the gang who's stealing my stuff. So she gave her like a story about how she loves teal because teal reminded her of sitting in the back seat of her family's car and seeing the sky. And Demi Moore was just like, that's aquamarine. Anyways, I got stuff to do, blah, blah, blah. So now that she realizes, oh, she's part of the gang, now she's taking her designs, she's taking her favorite color and declaring that it's aquamarine on the internet. No one else is going to believe her. So now Kiki's like, I'm crash out. The whole time, her best friend right here, is like, hold up. Oh, no, best friend's up here, I think. Best friend's like, hold up. No, actually, sorry, this is multiple of the same character. Yeah, because that's Keke. Yeah, okay. So this person, who is played by Naomi Aki, I think. Yeah. So she's the best friend, and she's like, hey, she's kind of like in this pyramid scheme cult group, and brings Keke at one point of like, here's how we can make money. And it's like, I don't know about this, but keeps bringing it up. And also is the only one with a kid. So she's like, hey, I got to make money for my kid. Like, whatever this is about, like, sticking it to the man and revolution and blah, blah, blah. I don't give a fuck. I need to make money for my kid to eat. I need money to live. Also, Keke Palmer's character is like squatting in an empty chicken restaurant. Like, that's another thing. Like, she's this close to homeless. She's basically homeless. And so, like, what is there left to lose? You know what I mean? So that's why she's like, well, fuck it. Now we're going to destroy the clothes and we're not going to sell it all. Like, this is a bigger battle. And the friend is like, look, dude, I'm taking these fucking clothes and I'm selling them. I don't know what you're talking about. They then, after doing this some more and destroying clothes and whatnot, they're like, okay, we got to get invited. We're still undercover working at the store. Got to get invited to the fashion show, the big fashion show where she's going to reveal her new line of stuff and blah, blah, blah. And somewhere there, these $100,000 suits are there. So we're going to steal those and we're going to cash out and be rich. And we can send some, we're going to try and get the factory in China to get better wages. But also that's like a secondary goal. We're not really concerned too much about that. But when they go into the back of the fashion show and they see all these people who have been on the TV and radio throughout the movie, like kind of in the background. Also, they see the pyramid scheme leader in there. And these characters have names like Concerned Father, Crying Black Mother, Crying Black Single Mother, people that you would see in Man on the Street interviews on the news. They then reveal, at gunpoint, not gunpoint, but device point, because they're like, hey, you've seen what this device can do. It can like reduce you to nothing. Do what we say. And we're doing a little bit of spoilers. We're doing a little bit of spoilers, Silas. Do what we say and take off all your clothes. Take off those suits that you're wearing. And so these characters, who are again named things like Crying Black Mother and Concerned Citizen and Respected Community Leader and whatever the hell, they take off their suits and then they peel off their skin. And they peel off their skin and they're like, this skin is the suit. And now they're like, the way it's portrayed in the movie is they are fleshless stop motion characters, which I love because I personally love stop motion. And that's actually going to connect us to our next movie that we talk about. But they are stop motion, like muscle characters. It would be scary if they weren't stop motion. They are like, oh yeah, we switch costumes multiple times. Sometimes I'm Crying Black Mother. Sometimes they're Crying Black Mother. Sometimes I'm the pyramid scheme leader. Sometimes they're the pyramid scheme leader. I've been a news anchor for multiple times. They are influencers. They're influencers. So much of this shit is like metaphorical, but also so blunt and obvious that it is kind of annoying. I get it. I understand why my wife kind of bounced off this. And there's a big like chase at the end. They have the suits, the skin suits, the $100,000 skin suits. But they're like, how are we going to sell flesh suits on the black market? Who's going to buy these? And they're kind of just driving away. And then they realize, well, there's no way. Now, even the character who's like, hey, I have a kid and like I got to sell this stuff. She gets off. She gets off the ride. Basically, they're like, hey, we understand. We recognize that you are my best friend. I held you down this whole time and I'm sorry. So yeah, here, take some of the clothes, like the sellable clothes, go sell those, get your money. We're going to go finish off Demi Moore. And they go do that and they turn the machine. So like Violetta, they've kind of like written her off and been like, all right, thanks girl for like explaining how this whole thing works and giving a lot of exposition for the audience. But also we are going to, she's trying to unionize. So she's trying to like talk to people at the fashion show, other workers at the fashion show about unions and giving out flyers and stuff like that. And then Keke Palmer and the gang return back to the main place. They also accidentally, during the car chase, shoot the accelerant at one of the cop cars that's following them by accident. And it's driven by Eric Andre, which is hilarious. And they accelerate the cop car, and it turns into like a giant monster truck, tank, armored vehicle, militarized cop vehicle, because that's what happens if you advance that line of thinking, right? You get a police state. You turn them into super soldiers. So that's kind of what happens there. They get back to the fashion show. They point the thing at Violetta organizing the union, and then everybody's already in the union. They actually teleport the beam from China through one of the teleporters into, so it like doubles back on itself. And so the union, basically the union in America, also then unionizes the sweatshop back in China. The whole idea of the movie is like international, intersectional camaraderie and community and solidarity. And that's kind of how the movie ends. Now, I did spoil some things that happened in the movie, Silas, but I will also say what I said is all over the fucking place, and you're not gonna like it. If you go see this movie today, tomorrow, whenever it is, you're not gonna remember what I said until it happens on screen and be like, oh, I did vaguely hear about this part. Like, what I said was so much, and it describes the movie kind of, and I'm sure they're going to talk a lot about it over on Movie Night Extravaganza, yet another show on this space. Check out this space, folks. If you're not watching this space, you really should be, because sometimes you'll get a live movie review from me and I won't have to edit anything. Because also this weekend, I really needed this reset of a 3-day Memorial Day weekend, but it was very nice, but I also got depressed, so I didn't want to make 2 reviews for this movie and Mandalorian. I just wanted to do it all at once, and here we're doing it. I'm doing it live. So again, follow this space. Follow me over on Devil's Advocate on YouTube and Twitch, and you might catch one of these. And if you're not, you're going to get these. You're going to get tons of reviews and stuff anyway. Crimson Desert's coming soon. Donkey Kong, it's almost been a year. That'll come soon too. But I love boosters. I like Sorry to Bother You better. I like One of Them Days better, frankly. And it's a very similar kind of movie. And I liked Everything Everywhere All at Once better. In terms of like using surrealism and whatnot to make a point. I thought this one did it better. Well, this one kind of was muddled and kind of was a little all over the place. He's even said in interviews, I will point to Lakeith Stanfield's character as this example, because Boots Riley had said like he had an idea for this character and he didn't really know where to put it. And so he just kind of threw it in this movie, even though it doesn't really serve a purpose. I will say it does. I think it does. In that, if the movie is showing what someone under late stage capitalism is living like, right? Whatever my condition, your condition watching, Keke Palmer's character is squatting in a closed down chicken shop, right? So that's her life. And she's like, I don't want to risk losing this. You know what I mean? Going to jail, something like that. Because it is. And it's such a joke for us to be like, you're like, what are you losing? You don't even really own anything. And that's the point. What are we risking? Like, we need to do something other than cower and talk into the internet or tweet or whatever, because we barely have anything to fucking lose. You see it when you see people lighting up warehouses. You see it when you see people running up on the White House like they did this past weekend, or running to the White House Correspondents' Dinner, or showing up to a rally, or showing up to Mar-a-Lago. with a blam blam and a pew pew. Because people don't have much to lose anymore. I had lots of clips that I could have talked about today. I don't want to. I want to talk about these movies because they also make that same fucking point. There's not much left to lose. Lakeith Stanfield's character is kind of the devil. He's not the devil, but he represents temptation. Because apparently he's so amazing in bed and blah, blah, blah. He sucks the soul out of he literally says, I suck the soul out of pussies. That's what he does. Pussies, dicks, men, women, throughout the ages. That's what I do. But I have found you and I love you and I kind of want to be with you and I'll stop sucking souls out of pussies. We don't even have to do that to be together. But throughout the movie, he keeps showing up and she keeps being tempted, right? And I think, and by the end of the movie, she rejects him. She says, I can't, that's a very tempting offer, but I don't want to be with anyone who's not going to go down on me. And I also don't want to be with someone who's going to suck my soul out. So, no. And rejects him. And I think that's, I might be reading more into it than even Boots Riley thought about. But to me, that's her rejecting what we could all do, which is fall into drugs and gooning or whatever, sex, just be satisfied with getting dopamine hits, fighting on Twitter, whatever it is, and just kind of falling out of the fight and being, maybe not satisfied with your life, but not trying to take down and battle the people who made it, who are responsible for it. Demi Moore, like again, the character in the movie and in real life, Demi Moore is out here advocating for a fucking I, which is coming after her fucking job. After she just had a goddamn career resurgence with being in the fucking substance. She's going to advocate for AI? Dumb fuck. Dumb fuck, piece of shit, much like the character in this film. Now I want to talk about Mando and Grogu. I have less to say about this movie. I'm going to talk about this, and we're going to spin it up together and talk about both of them at the end. Mandalorian Grogu is the feature film based on the hit for a season or two Disney Plus series, The Mandalorian. Started in 2019, by the way, right before the pandemic. Right as Rise of Skywalker, which was the last feature film, Star Wars feature film, to be in theaters, was out. Started a couple weeks before Rise of Skywalker came out, literally so that the episode that established that Grogu, Baby Yoda here, could heal other creatures using the Force, set that up in the episode, and then you go watch Rise of Skywalker and Rey heals something using the Force. So, hey, we set that up on the TV show. This is when Disney had the idea, we're going to release like 2 feature films, couple TV shows every year. No one's ever going to get tired of this. Same thing with Marvel. 2 Star Wars movies, 2 Marvel movies a year. Couple TV shows in between. Keep everyone satisfied. Literally, the Facebook model, we never want anyone looking away. We always want people on Disney Plus consuming Disney products. Now, a lot of what I have to say about this movie could be said, has been said in Red Letter Media's video, which I will point to right here. You don't have to go watch them. They're established. They have 1 million, almost 2 million subscribers. Half in the bag, Mandalorian and Grogu. It is, I think, one of the worst Star Wars movies. It is, the series had character arc. Even as shallow as the first season was, which it was, because it was like, hey, the character arc for the Mandalorian was basically getting his armor. He would go after people who had the metal that they wanted, the Mandalorian metal, which was Beskar. He would go bring that back to his clan. The clan armorer, mystic, wise woman would forge it into a new piece. He would stick it on. Boom. That's the fucking show right there. The show was created by Jon Favreau. Jon Favreau, clearly, Gen X, cusp of boomer, clearly grew up watching, the original Star Wars movies and the Boba Fett debut. Holiday special. So Boba Fett made his official on-screen debut in the animated short segment, The Story of the Faithful Wookiee, within the universally panned Star Wars Holiday Special, which aired on CBS November 17th, 1978. This is what Boba Fett looked like. And this was like hyped up, right? In magazines. The sequel to Star Wars is coming. Empire Strikes Back. New characters, new creatures. Like what we get now, where they do that. And they show, here's new creatures, here's new toys to fucking buy. And Boba Fett was debuted. Literally, this entire segment, most of it, is like in the first episode of The Mandalorian season 1. Like this creature, this weapon that he uses, which I think disintegrates, to the point where there's even an in-joke in Empire Strikes Back where he looks at Boba Fett and says, "No disintegrations," Vader does. And I think that's because if you had watched the holiday special, you would have gotten that joke. Oh shit, he uses a disintegrator. You know what I mean? Here's him using the disintegrator. George Lucas always wanted this idea of like cross media. You know what I mean? Like we are, what happens in a TV show matters, what happens in a comic book matters, what happens in the movie matters. It's all connected, it's all one universe. And that's a cool idea. Does it always work? Not necessarily. Because then in the 90s, you get the prequels come out, which are panned for the most part. My generation, I think a lot of us like them to a certain varying degrees. I'm of the opinion that reworked a little bit, they could be all right. The story beats are okay. It's the execution. But they also give Dave Filoni, let's look at Dave Filoni, the keys to the Clone Wars cartoons. They say, hey, Dave Filoni, can you make a cartoon series about the Clone Wars and those 3 years in between Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith? And he says, sure thing, George. And then that cartoon series is wildly successful and goes way beyond the 2 movies that are out, right? Clone Wars keeps going as a TV series on Cartoon Network. So all those episodes happened within 3 years. Like Anakin gets an apprentice in Ahsoka for 3 years and is never mentioned in Revenge of the Sith or New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, nothing. This character is emblematic of a problem that lasts into this movie because it started with her. Rata the Hutt. Rata the Hutt is a baby Hutt, right? So in the very first Clone Wars animated movie, which I don't think released in theaters, I think it was straight to Cartoon Network, premiered on Cartoon Network, and then launched the series, which happened a lot. You know, Jimmy Neutron was a movie first. That actually got released by Nickelodeon into theaters and then was a series. Barnyard was another one. But this was for Cartoon Network, but this one aired on Cartoon Network and then launched the cartoon series. This character, this baby that doesn't talk, is now this in The Mandalorian. Because isn't that fun? We'll connect the whole thing. I'm Dave Filoni. I desperately want my cartoon characters that I made up to matter to the Star Wars canon. And now that Disney owns Star Wars and not George Lucas, and he's not making the movies anymore, and really, Kathleen Kennedy's not even really in charge anymore. I'm in fucking charge. Andor's done. The future of Star Wars is Filoni baloney. Filoni baloney is the name of the game. And Jon Favreau, for as good as he made that first season of Mandalorian, I would even say season 2 of The Mandalorian, the first 2 seasons, they do not like the second season. It was full of cameos and setups for spinoffs, which I saw at the time, and I was like, I don't care. It's okay. Fine. You have an episode that fucking Boba Fett shows back up. It crawls out of the Sarlacc pit, which happened in a comic book like decades ago. But Dave Filoni remembers, and Jon Favreau remembers, and they wanted to have Boba Fett be the star of the show, I guarantee you, because a Star Wars story was going to be a series of movies that came out. But then Disney decided they wanted their own streaming service, and Rogue One and Solo didn't do too well. So instead of making a Obi-Wan movie, a Yoda movie, a Boba Fett movie, they said, we're going to put it all on Disney Plus. That's where you got the Obi-Wan TV show that sucked and was stretched out because it was supposed to be a 2-hour fucking movie. That's where you get more like Dave Filoni. I agree, John. I agree. That's where you get the Boba Fett TV series, which came after season 2 of Mando, with 6 episodes. The last 2 episodes, Mandalorian focused. Actually, last 3 episodes. Crazy. So season 2, I think season 1 and 2 are okay. Yeah, Boba Fett shows up, Ahsoka shows up, Bo-Katan shows up, which, if you don't know these characters, or if you don't know Bo-Katan and Ahsoka, you didn't watch the cartoons. You got to watch all the cartoons to get everything. Luke Skywalker, deep fake Luke Skywalker shows up. And there's a satisfying emotional end to the character arc of those first 2 seasons. Because the first 2 seasons are, hey, you came across this little guy when you were doing your bounties, and you don't know what to do with him. So it became Lone Wolf and Cub. Like, hey, I'm training you. I'm taking care of you until I can find what the armorer tells him where your people are. And he finds that the people are called Jedi and that there's none left. Now, if he had played all the video games and watched all the cartoons and read all the comics, he'd know there's like 1,000 fucking Jedi left. But there's no Jedi left. He gets pointed in season 2. He gets pointed to a Jedi. It's actually Ahsoka. Ahsoka's like, hey, I'm not part of this yet. I'm waiting for my spin-off series to come out. So why don't you take him to this other Jedi I know about? And it's Luke Skywalker. So, okay, that's the last episode of season 2. Grogu is handed off to Luke. It's a tearful goodbye, but it's like we know that Grogu will be safe up until, Kylo Ren burns down the whole fucking Jedi temple in the sequel series, because the sequel series is still out and it's still canon, and I'm waiting for them to make a cartoon series going, hey, actually, it's not that bad. Look at all the shit that was happening in between, just like the Clone Wars. Bullshit. But I was satisfied. Then Book of Boba Fett came out, and I'm like, uh-oh, I don't think you know what you're doing. Then Obi-Wan came out, and I was like, uh-oh, you really don't know what you're doing. You're just catering to fucking fan service. Oh, shit. Then Andor came out, and I was like, oh, what is this? The way I felt about Mandalorian season 1 was like, oh, here's some fucking like adult Star Wars, like slightly more adult oriented, or at least like, again, Jon Favreau's a fan from back in the day. He's like, this dude hunts people. He kills people. He's a cowboy, whatever. We get that in Andor for real. We get real revolutionary shit. We get real fucking scoundrel, morally gray characters. We get actual satisfying character arcs. And we get that for 2 seasons. And it should have been 5. It should have been 5. But I'll take the 2 we got and I'll hold that. Matter of fact, I want to buy that shit on physical media because who knows? Disney might fucking delete it. That's why I bought Superman. Because I don't trust the Ellisons who are going to buy Warner Brothers to not have somebody go, oh, James Gunn had Hawkgirl drop Netanyahu and explode him. So delete that movie and fire James Gunn. I got Dogma, unrelated, because the Weinstein Company doesn't exist anymore, and Kevin Smith was able to get his rights to his own fucking movie back and release it. So I fucking made sure to get it so I can watch it if I want to watch it. That's why it's important to get physical media. Little point, folks. I realize I didn't really talk that much about the movie, and that's because there isn't much to say. As I point out, Rada the Hutt is in this movie. Rada the Hutt is the crux of the movie. What's the plan? Oh, now he's working for the New Republic. Season 3 of The Mandalorian was fucking garbage. Season 3 of The Mandalorian was I talked about it with Pep Talks TV last week. Check that out. Check out Pep Talks. Check out this space. There's so many good hosts here. Season 3 of The Mandalorian was, as much as season 2 was, here's setups for spinoffs. Here's character cameos that they're going to have their own series. Season 3 of The Mandalorian was, fuck him. We're just going to do a Bo-Katan show. And Dave Filoni has said, Pep Talk brought it up. Dave Filoni said, hey, the reason it's called The Mandalorian is because maybe it's not even about Din Djarin, The Mandalorian. Maybe it's about Bo-Katan. Maybe it's about the idea of Mandalore and the whole planet and everyone's the Mandalorian. That's a cop-out. It's a cop-out for wanting to do a show of live-action Bo-Katan show. Because you're Dave Filoni and you created Bo-Katan. Fuck out of here. So, season 3, first of all, season 2 ended with him giving away Grogu. Not even season 3. In the Book of Boba Fett show, in the middle of the show, it just switches out of the Boba Fett story to the Mandalorian story. And Luke and Ahsoka are on the same planet in the same space. Again, Dave Filoni wants his cartoon characters to stand there next to the real Star Wars characters. This is as important as each other. I'm trying to visually tell you they're as important as each other. No, they're not, Dave. No one cares about Ahsoka. Stop trying to make Ahsoka happen. We also don't get any conversation that you'd think would happen. Luke asking, hey, what was my dad like growing up? Whatever conversation they may have had happened off screen because they're cowards in the writer's room who didn't want to write that. Plus, it's Boba Fett's fucking show. What are we doing this for in the Boba Fett show? But we immediately renege on the finale of Mandalorian season 2, where he gives Grogu away. Hey, this is for Luke. This is your people. This is where you belong. He's like, actually, I showed back up. I miss Grogu and I want him back. And actually, Grogu doesn't really want to be a Jedi. And Luke's like, yeah, he can go. I don't care. I don't know why he gave him to me in the first place. Fuck it. Go. So they're already back together in Book of Boba Fett. And then season 3 of Mandalorian is just them together. Again, now their character arcs are done. The character arc was give him to his people. That happened already. And then it's like, oh, actually, we're the creator and we want to keep these two characters together. So fuck that. Fuck character arcs. Fuck growth and satisfaction. Just put them together again, and then they'll just pal around. So that's what they're doing in season 3 of Mando. They end with him like, I'm retired, I'm done. Me and Grogu are gonna live on this planet in this like little like house that we made, and that's it. And that's how it faded out. Like, the show's over, we're done. This movie is they're working for the New Republic, doing bounties and catching Imperials or whatever. That's the only cool part of the movie, is the very beginning when they're killing fascists. Cool. You're killing fascists, you're killing stormtroopers, runaway, exiled Empire people. Fine. You catch the guy, and then they're like, hey, we need this guy who's like financing all the different Imperial warlords. And if you find this guy, he's got all the information. We don't know who he is. We just know he's called Commander Coin. And the only people who know where he is are the Hutts. You got to go to Nal Hutta, the center of the Hutt Empire of crime, and go negotiate. So he goes there, and there are the Hutt twins who we saw in the Book of Boba Fett showed up. And they got to go, and they point him, hey, we'll tell you about Commander Coin if you go rescue our nephew, Rada the Hutt, the son of Jabba the Hutt. And as soon as they said, here's an old picture of him, we only have an old picture, and it's a little baby, I was like, that's the fucking one from the fucking Clone Wars movie, isn't it? And yes, it was. Yes, it was. Voiced by Jeremy Allen White for no reason, by the way. That was interesting. Martin Scorsese's in this movie. I will show you who Martin Scorsese plays. He plays a monkey. He plays a 4-arm monkey character. And I believe he plays that character because Disney saw him say, Marvel movies and Star Wars movies are not cinema. They are like a roller coaster. And they said, we're going to sun you and fucking make you eat your words by backing up a truckload of fucking money and making you a fucking dancing monkey for us. That's what I think happened. That's just my theory. But anyways, the whole movie is them trying to save Rada the Hutt. They do it halfway through the movie. They catch him. They catch Commander Coin. They bring Commander Coin to the New Republic. Movie's over. But then, Rada the Hutt, actually, we were going to send him off and have him live peacefully. Because that was his whole thing. I'm a gladiator on this planet. Once I win my last fight, I'll be free to make my own way. And I'm popular now because with the crowd and everything. But of course, the commander who's in charge of him is also Commander Coin, is the guy that Mando's looking for. So what a fucking convenient coinkydink. And of course, he's not going to let him go free after his fight. This is your last fight. We're going to send all the creatures at you to kill you. And look at all the creatures. They're all the creatures that were on the chessboard in A New Hope. So like these creatures, all these are the creatures that show up in the gladiatorial arena. That's what this movie was. It was just Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni being like, hey, what can we throw in that we miss? What are the toys that we had? This is literally the definition of action figures smashing against each other because there really is no story. Red Letter Media dudes said it felt like it was written by AI and even like voiced by AI. Maybe this was Disney's attempt at like, can we make a fully AI movie? And while I was watching it, I fell asleep at one point because they wandered through the swamp for like 30 minutes between Act 2 and 3. And I kept like drifting in and out of sleep. And I was like, they're still in the woods. Okay, I can rest my eyes a bit. They're still in the woods. Did they meet up with each other? No, they're still in the okay. And then they're on a ship. They're actually going to do something. All right, let me stay awake now. That's this movie. So, Rada the Hutt, we thought we both caught Commander Coin and saved Rada the Hutt and like secreted him away so he can be independent on his own. Oh no, actually the Hutts had a different bounty hunter following you and found his ship and kidnapped him. And he's going to be tortured for hundreds of years. So we got to go back to Nalhutta and save him anyway. And the New Republic is like, we don't really care. But of course, Mando's going to go anyway because he's such a good guy. But again, why does he give a fuck at all? Why are he and Grogu together? What is any of their motivation for this other than we met him for 5 minutes and he seemed chill? Kind of sucks that he'll be like killed or whatever. But this is a cold, hard bastard. Like, why the fuck would he care? Hey, Grogu, we're just going to stay here. He even puts it to Grogu like, hey, we could stay here. It's not really our problem. We can just fly away. And Grogu's like, no, we got to go fight. So I'm almost out of time. I know. I seem to ramble a lot. But really, my whole point is this movie felt like nothing. This really felt like industry slop. Like, maybe we can make a movie with all AI. Most of the characters aren't live action human beings. They're either a character with their mask on the whole time, or most of the time, puppets, which, they used real puppets. Nice. Good job, Jon Favreau. They used stop motion in this movie towards the end for a very brief scene that you didn't need to use stop motion for, but they used it for some cool big like robot creatures. Cool. They even used Phil Tippett. Phil Tippett made the stop motion effects for Return of the Jedi. And he made this great movie a couple years ago, 2021, called Mad God, which you should definitely watch. This is an original movie. The reason I went and saw I Love Boosters, is because it was an original movie. And I support original movies. It was written and directed by Bruce Riley. That's it. Okay? Mad God is written and directed and sculpted by Phil Tippett. I think you should watch this movie. It's on Amazon. It's on a lot of platforms. Star Wars, The Mandalorian, and Grogu, you should watch season 1 and maybe 2 of Mandalorian. This movie does nothing. Even the action is kind of boring. The color, I will say the colors in I Love Boosters, very bright, very vibrant, to the point where it's kind of overstimulating sometimes. The colors in The Mandalorian, flat, boring, not interesting. Barely any human characters in this movie, to the point even Sigourney Weaver shows up. She's there for a little bit. She sounds bored. She sounds like, hey, I have 10 minutes in between takes of whatever Avatar movie's being filmed. Let me come on set for Star Wars and just read a few lines and get a big bag of cash. The end. This was action figures being smashed together. And felt like a couple episodes of The Mandalorian mushed together, or rather, one bad episode of The Mandalorian stretched out over 2 hours. Either way, it felt like stuff they had for like season 3 or whatever, or maybe season 4, that they couldn't fit in because of all the Bo-Katan shit. And we're like, let's just stick it in a movie because Disney is stopping doing the TV show thing because that's not getting them enough subscribers. Because the theme of that and the theme of this is the same fucking theme. These goddamn capitalists are too fucking greedy, and they will turn everything to fucking slop for money. They will make everything worse for money. And they will charge you for it. So, folks, that is my review of those 2 movies, The Mandalorian and Grogu, and I Love Boosters. It's kind of an experiment today, doing it live. If you want to see more of this, again, follow me on my platforms, Twitter and Blue Sky, if you want to see when I'm going live. But also follow this Space TV, because anything can happen here. I might have been talking about politics today. I did sneak in a little bit here and there. But I'm also talking about movies. I might be playing a video game. I might be talking about an album that I love. You never know what's going to happen over on this space. And I will leave you with the next person who is Carlos from A Difficult Truth. If you want some real news, check out A Difficult Truth over on YouTube. But folks, that is my review. Thank you very much for watching. Take care and check out my other stuff.
In a world where we get so caught up in the day-to-day, just keeping your head down and how we can survive. We float by each other like ghosts every day, ignorant to the struggle, the fight with one another, complacent with the fact that our systems are broken, with the fact that the top 10 will always be first in line, the fact that we are killing our planet and allowing them to keep us divided. We must stand together and rise up. It's time we wake up, and that is a difficult to truth.